Hi, my name is The Jordan. We've got a new episode of the Draftables for you. I laugh because I'm not alone. This is my first of 15 Draftables, a VGC Draft League Analysis Series, asterisk, like, comment, and subscribe, that I've had a co-host because this person influences how I think about this game all the time and is a content creator of his own. Mancini the Amazing. I'm going to call you Electric. Hello.
Hello. I am, you can call me Electric if you want to. It just will drive down viewership on my own channel. It's a stab in the back that I would not have expected.
You got to own two brands. That's a great idea. That's what they always say. Wait, Electric, why should we listen to you in a nutshell?
I think I have like a very soothing voice, and I have an inordinate amount of trophies in basically any draft format that has existed, and I do okay at actual VGC as well.
Damn, okay, I'm listening. Is Redirection good?
Redirection is good if you are a skillless player who doesn't want to adapt to the decisions that your opponent is making. So I personally find it very good, yes.
So you like cheating at the game?
It's not always cheating. Sometimes it's more about just making sure your opponent doesn't have fun.
So, Electric, is every mon that has Rage Powder or Follow Me draftable?
I would say theoretically yes, but often, when it comes to a lot of the super low tier ones, a lot of them kind of trip over each other's feet and are just better than the other ones. So most of them are draftable, but only if the other ones are gone.
Yes, makes sense to me. You've already noted the difference between a mon with Rage Powder and a mon with Rage Powder and 12 other viable moves is very important. A mon with big stats is better than a mon with little stats. I will say, though, that every single mon in the game could benefit by having Rage Powder or Follow Me on their move pool. And that's obviously true that because more options is good, but like significantly. Basically every mon would run it sometimes if they had it.
I think that you could consider running Limber Ditto if it had Redirection.
Yeah, you can run a pink blob if it had Redirection. Yeah. It's a very, very important mood. It allows you to cheat, allows you to ignore the fundamentals of who goes first and who does more damage, because you say, everyone attacks me, my partner can do whatever it pleases. What are you doing next to a redirector? I'm going to skip ahead. Okay. So before we get to a couple of showcases of some really good redirectors, and we'll throw up a tier list at the end so you know which ones to take and how to build a good team around your redirector, why are we redirecting in the first place? Why does it warrant a spot on your team, and why do you bring it to the match? Ignoring everything else about these mons. Electric, take it away. Bring the knowledge. I just bring the intros.
So one of the main that's terrifying to find a smart one. So one of the main things that you want to redirect for are Pokemon that are either frail or which are made functionally frail because they are clicking a move that makes them have less defenses. So that is either Pokemon that's actually frail, often a Pokemon that is clicking, say, a recoil move, or something like Close Combat or Armor Cannon that reduces their defenses, or someone clicking something like, say, Shell Smash, which reduces its defenses in a different way, or a Pokemon that is otherwise susceptible. For example, Trick Room is a really good use case for redirection because that Pokemon is always going to be moving last, and often most Trick Room setters will die to a double up, so preventing them from being doubled up on, especially in a meta where Covert Cloak means the Fake Out isn't a reliable way to do that, is kind of going to determine whether you have control of the game state or not.
They also don't like getting taunted or put to sleep.
Absolutely.
So every single thing you can do to me, you cannot do to me if I have a redirector by my side. That's really good. Basically, I had never thought about recoil moves, but and close combat and anything mon that can't survive on its own. Basically every mon can benefit from it, but especially the ones that need that time or simply can't do it alone. Every single mon would love to click Shell Smash if it had it, and every single mon can click Shell Smash, usually, if it has Follow Me or Rage Powder by its side. So that's one way to win, but every single way to win is made easier when that made to win is protected like it's the most important precious baby.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get to our first showcase, which is Pachirisu. It was on the cover, don't worry. But real quick, how has the generation changed redirection for us? Gen 9 seems to have more redirectors than usual, but like there's a big difference in quality between the good and bad ones. What do you think, Electric?
I'd say compared to some other, regional dexes, there is about a similar quality of Follow Me users, with Clefairy being kind of slotted in for Mousehold, who is very good in very different ways to Clefairy. Yeah. But there are some, like you have kind of the creme de la creme of previous generation Rage Powder users with Volcarona, with Amoonguss, with Vivillon, with Toadscruel.
Amoonguss owns most early formats. In most formats, it's around when there isn't some new amazing top tier.
I mean, there's Amoonguss has one weakness this gen, which is that other people can Terra, which is not.
Oh man, getting ahead of ourselves. This is, I think, the most Terra-proof redirector. This is a mon that has one weakness. This is our hyping up the first showcase. A mon that is just there, vibing, barely interacting with most other mons. They're weak to ground, but they're just there follow meing, and they have decent stats, and they don't need to be any better. What I love about Pachirisu is that it's so clear what it's there for. What its reason to exist on the universe is to click follow me and to click a handful of other disruptive moves, and if it really needs damage, it clicks Super Fang. And that's it.
Absolutely.
It's medium good at staying around. It's medium good at creating disruption. It's medium good, and it's like, because it has a good typing, it's like a little bit better than you'd expect. Is that basically the, in a nutshell, Pachirisu experience? You know this guy from way before, because you played this game a lot longer than me. The 2014 championship, right?
So I came in about a year after that, so I wasn't as directly exposed. But the main thing that Pachirisu has as a selling point, which it had then and it still has now, is that Volt Absorb is really good when your partner Pokemon is weak to Electric. And in this current gen, a lot of Pokemon that are very good are weak to Electric.
Because water types are busted, and more mons are becoming water type than ever before.
Yep, water types are busted, flying types are busted, and the other thing. Is there another thing?
No, it's just that. But just Electric has 3 resistances, so it's just like a good type to exist and to have as coverage, except when there's a Follow Me Volt Absorb.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's probably just a lot of Electric types are very strong in the current format, and this mon can blanket. I know it takes a lot of neutral hits, neutral coverage from opposing Electrics very well.
Oh, yeah. So if you're hitting non-stab neutral moves, you're not getting through Pachirisu in even one turn.
Or you're getting through it. You're getting through it in 2-3 turns, which is, something that the Pachirisu user is more than happy to have if they're getting multiple turns out of their partner Pokemon.
It's pretty good at sticking around. What's nice about what makes it feel that way to me is that because it's so clear as to its role, it always can be full bulk if it wants to. It can have speed, but it doesn't need to, right? As long as it's staying around, it'll do something useful, and that's usually follow me. You never need offense for Super Fang, and Helping Hand is one of those classic mix-ups of follow me. So I think this is like basically how you do it. Because water type is busted, why not become a water type that's immune to one of your own weaknesses?
Yeah, I probably would lean more towards being a type that resists ground. So flying is where I tend to lean on Pachi, as you see you've got there. And I've also seen grass be okay to deal with opposing sport.
I've already been pleasantly surprised with like the key resistances of grass. You're redeeming the type in my eyes just a teensy bit. But is the mon good at being fast? Is 95 fast nowadays?
I don't know. I thought Jinx was fast last gen, so I guess 95 is still fast. Because the meta's a lot slower. Is 95 fast? Probably. It's good.
When you know there are things you can't live, when you fight the Garchomp, you run Sash, and it's fine. Or you run Terra Flying. Just having a few different options in terms of resistances is one of the key things that makes Redirection as a move so good. It's its best buff overall. Would you agree, or would you think elsewhere?
Look, that's absolutely one of the things that really helps redirectors. The ability for them to Terra is really interesting. and then their ability to disregard opposing terrors by giving your partner Pokemon that one turn of safety for offensive terrors.
Ooh, it's a predictability tool, right?
Yeah,
you can't really get the jump on someone with a redirector, and that's like the most frustrating aspect of the new generation is just not knowing. But if Follow Me is just one of the most like flowcharty automatic moves because you're ignoring speed control, damage control, taunt, everything else. That you're like nothing can surprise me, and that's one of the things that good players take advantage of.
It can provide you an unparalleled amount of information. It lets you know their moves. It can let you know terror types. It can let you know items. One of the most fun ways to find out about items and terror types is when they have safety goggles and then KO the Pokemon next to you with
That's not the most fun. Okay, so yes, Terra Grass has a couple, or is one of a few issues that it's joining safety goggles and grass types as the counterplay to Rage Powder, what makes it strictly worse. There isn't any reason where it's better, I don't think. Strictly worse than Follow Me. How big a deal is Terra Grass Electric?
I think that Terra Grass is very balanced as it stands. Like, if Terra Grass didn't allow you to ignore Rage Powder and Spore, Terra Grass would not be viable, despite the fact it does have good resistances. But the fact that it has that combined with the upside, I mean, it makes Rage Powder a step down from Follow Me, but most of the Rage Powder users are still good enough that I think you can justify using them. Only one of their Pokemon can safety goggles. Only one of their Pokemon can Terra Grass if they're not Terra Grassing. So if they're Terra Grassing, they're not tearing a different type and they're not tearing a different Pokemon. A lot of it comes down to can you pressure them to spend that Terra on Grass.
Yeah. No, if they're tearing grass, they're losing unless they really got some key interaction out of it, because it's otherwise not a good type. And so I think you nailed it. That is its own asset, just forcing something to tear into grass. So
it's a reasonable trade-off.
So this Mon attracts Terra Grass like there's no other because its stabs can't hit grass. And Acid Spray is a good move, but it's not a good move on a Mon that wants to be doing Spores or Trick Rooms, right? Is this a good Mon, or is this like too many things too mediocrely? That's my trouble I'm trying to wrestle with.
I am super on the fence about whether Toedscruel is a good Mon for draft. I think that it's a Mon that's probably the most decided by how much you're willing to spend on it. Ground is a decent type to have in draft, which is true, but Ground and Grass together are not a very good combination. Like, they just don't hit things.
How much does this guy benefit from not being Grass Ground sometimes?
Probably not enough to Terra into. I think I've seen Terra Ghost.
We've already seen in the VBL someone get blown up by a water Toedscruel because water's a pretty good type, and its stats are pretty good for a redirector. It's Amoonguss Light, isn't it?
I mean,
it's Amoonguss better on the Spadef side.
Amoonguss better on the Spadef side. I guess one of the selling points for Amoonguss is that it's got a good dual typing.
Yeah.
I mean, Rage Powder Spore, pretty good. Toxic is an interesting move that can beat some team structures. Is this Mon Amoonguss Light? Depends. I mean, Amoonguss is a very specific Pokemon that this Pokemon does some of the stuff of, and it really depends.
It does the key things. In fact, it does the key 3 moves, because I think Protect is so important on a redirector that's as disruptive as putting you to sleep guaranteed. It's one of the best moves in the game, next to one of the best moves in the game. I think this is functionally Amoonguss in 85% of its threat bubble. And so that's the best thing I can say about Toedscruel. It's in the footsteps of giants with some amazing moves. Do the other moves matter? Sometimes, I think a lot.
I think
it's hard to say. Like Trick Room.
Trick Room seems pretty cool. Really big.
Yeah.
Yep. Earth Power's fine. Its coverage is okay. Knockoff is a very rare move in the current format, and it's a move that it appreciates having. I think it has Mudshot to give you a function of speed control. I think it has. I don't think it has Bulldoze, right?
No, but you're right. 100 speed stab Mudshots are something. They matter, and they really expand what this guy can do. It's what makes a redirector better than Capsicid. Capsicid deserves 1 point and nothing else on the tier list. It's got redirection, though. I think it's the worst redirector we maybe ever seen. All the other ones in the current format have more use than it, but that's its footnote. Toadscruel is so much more than that. I'm unsure as to how good it is. It's other things, but it is a lot more, and that's what makes it a key part of your team and not a footnote. I definitely think it matters on price, you were saying, but like, can this guy be like a top 4 contributor in a normal power level format?
A top 4 contributor?
Yeah, like the core team, like the key 4 that you're bringing most often that are what you think of when you look back on the season.
I think it's a mon that is very frequently going to be in your 6, if not just to pressure it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's always going to be in your 4, but I think that the mix-ups that it provides are more than enough to justify having it in a team of 6.
That's a good point. It does a huge amount, more than most mons sitting on the bench or in your team builder. It's a mon that really, really demands answers, even if what it's doing is sometimes kind of mediocre. Obviously, reduced priority is a real problem. It really negates your speed control.
It's lost in your priority bracket.
There you go. If that ever matters, I apologize. But it's a mon that's got good moves. You noted knockoff. I noted acid spray. It's fast. This is a mon that can outspeed and OHKO Arcanine. Look at this set.
Yeah, the reason that matters the most is that Rage Powder is still +2 priority, so it still redirects Prankster.
Yes, so it's most of the time. You've already noted that like extreme speed would go before a reduced priority or last in its priority Rage Powder. But this is a mon that doesn't need Rage Powder, and I think that's really good. It still needs to be part of the redirection discussion, but a mon that's good enough to run 2 sets that have no Rage Powder I think is really, really nice. And so I think I'm more getting up on it the more I think about it. A mon that's fast and like an okay Pokemon
Absolutely.
and a Rage Powder and a Trick Room setter.
Especially in a format with so few good ground types. Having one that is a solid ground type, it's not going to be your Excadrill, but it's a solid ground type. It really does have a legitimate niche that you can take advantage of.
I'm going to say this guy is somewhere in the middle on your draft board in terms of priority, in terms of cost, but can be above average in its value if you're using it well. It can be significantly above average. That's my non-quantitative verdict. You might be slightly less up on it, but I always love my moves.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's one that I've considered taking and then decided against in my 4 drafts so far, which the fact that I've considered taking it is a good sign. The fact that I decided against it is a sign that it's a well-designed Pokemon that's more towards the middle.
So, this team looks great. Hopeless is a great drafter. Why did Amoonguss make this team great?
Because every Pokemon has great synergy with Amoonguss. So Goldengo, Azumarill, both have very fast setup in Narsiplan, Goldengo, Belly Drum on Azumarill. Technically, Salazzle does also have that. Veluza with Fill It Away as a low-tier Pokemon was picked up because they already had Amoonguss. And then Dragon Dance on both Salamence and Tyranitar are great on this team. Hypno is a Pokemon that is a pretty mediocre Trick Room setter, but will generally set it up reliably with support from Redirection, because I believe it has Inner Focus. It does have Inner Focus. It is a team that sits there working well because they function well together. And then if your opponent is bringing Terra Grass, they might have a slightly better matchup into Azumarill Aqua Jet, but they're not going to have a better matchup into Goldengo's Make It Rain or Salamence's Dual Wing Beat or Tyranitar's Stone Edge or Rock Slide.
A good team with Redirection is usually also a good team. And so a team that threatens you can use that turn of breathing room to threaten you more. So water types are some of the best mons in existence. I really wish Rage Powder could protect Azumarill and Veluza better. It can protect them from electric moves, but not grass moves.
If you're a Salamence team, you really don't mind them deciding to Terra Grass, right? That's why I think this team is good, that they kill Terra Grasses super reliably.
Back to the positive note, yes, you do crush grass types. The better you crush grass types, the better your Rage Powder is. Amoonguss can crush grass types reasonably well on its own. This is a great team.
Puff and Sludge Bomb and Clear Smog all do decent damage to opposing grasses.
Boom. This team I fought in a High Roller Draft League, and it's a different format, but I think it mostly holds up. If these mons were legal, this team basically doesn't need redirection at all. Would every team in the world benefit from that option? Yes. But this team was very, very threatening because it throws out lots of different attacks, and that's its mix-ups. Its mix-ups is clicking Tailwind, and then you can't defend against my Surging Strikes and my Latius and my Sheer Force Life Orb stuff, and just damage out everywhere. This is a team that wins the fundamentals and then just tries to stampede over the Redirector, and I think it can really do that, and I think all of these mons function well independently, and that's why redirection is totally not a priority for this kind of team. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. The main reason you want redirection is so that you can ignore what your opponent is doing. If your team is already doesn't care as much about what your opponent is doing, then you don't need to.
Good succinct way to put it. Yeah, okay. So it all depends on your team. This is a Draft League video. What makes Draft League different is we care about the 6th best mon in its class. You never see them on the ladder. You probably never see them. But in Draft League, if you're the 6th person to get a Redirector, you still want a Redirector on your team. And all of these Rage Powderers, the odds are good of you getting one, but the goods are odd. These mons struggle because they're babies in many cases, and they can't live a hit, so they need a Focus Sash. They don't like to get taunted, so they need a Mental Herb, and they try to live hits sometimes with Eviolite, and you can only run one of those 3 items. So should I never draft Baby Rage Powder, or should I try anyway, Electric?
So I think that it is, one of the considerations is, do I feel like I have a comprehensive team with 8 or 9 mons? If you do, there's really good argument that you should pick up a Baby Rage Powderer just because it will force your opponent to run bad items. Right?
Yes. But does it, though? I guess if they don't, then they're in for a problem every few weeks.
I know in the BDSP draft, I had Centret, and it came to team preview, I think, every time, and I think it never hit the field even once, and my opponent led to counter it every time. Or not every time, but like several times, which is...
It's hard to notice those differences that the Redirection presents, the strain it presents on the team builder, but if you've managed to notice different setups, then that's like concrete evidence. It's really good.
Well, it helps that they kept leading in a way that was bad into my actual lead, because I think I had a key in a focus mon, and they used it to try and fake out around my follow me.
So these Baby Rage Powders, we're largely talking about these cute little bugs.
I think we can keep Venomoth in that as well, to be honest.
Oh, burn on the Venomoth. Okay,
it's not really a burn as much as it's just not as it's one of the frailer mons. It doesn't like Shield Dust is its main selling point, which kind of is anti-synergistic with a Focus Sash, which is kind of awkward. But Venomoth and then the baby mons, the main thing that you're doing with them is clicking Rage Powder or clicking one of the other support moves.
True.
Right?
But I think you've alluded to the fact that baby does not mean frail. Some of these mons can take a hit. Hint, the top 2. How do we get right into it?
3. I've been very impressed with Toadstool's ability to take hits with it as well.
Well, I think Fungus is the king of the Baby Rage Powders because, Absolutely. Number 1, pretty bulky, especially when considering its typing, so it does the core Rage Powder role well. 2, it has a clear niche. Clicking Spore is really good. Clicking Spore first is really good. Will it get to click Spore first? Yes, whenever Trick Room is up. Does it have other moves? Yes, exactly 3. There's basically nothing else. But the elegance of its purpose, like Pachirisu, makes it good. The clarity with which it fulfills its purpose, why it does redirection well, and why it does something else, as unsavory as it may be, well, that makes it a good Pokemon with no qualifiers. It's not a baby. It's a grown little mushroom.
It gets like a Worry Seed, and I think a few of the other baby ones, because most of them are grass types, tend to. And a lot of that stuff is just kind of like, hey, your opponent wants to do something fun. What if they just couldn't? It's going to be good more often than clicking an offensive move is, which is why these more passive Pokemon tend to have greater set diversity, simply because they don't have the optimal thing of click Unga Bunga move.
how good is Fungus's bulk? You know, we like to do our numbers here. So this looks bad, but you add the Eviolite, and it's not bad anymore. This is average bulk among fully evolved Pokemon. And then when you think about Eviolite adding 50% onto your defensive investments as well, if you piled in 252 plus defense EVs, it's like you were 93 defense in the first place. If you were max SPDEF, you have as much SPDEF as a Mon that had 108 HP, and so it becomes like bulkier than most Pokemon. That's what makes Fungus bulky. The almighty Eviolite.
I have a very specific question.
Yes.
Speed being 80th percentile? Are there really that many Pokemon?
No. That's 100 speeds. That's an error. I'd actually be curious to know that number, but we're not going to do that amount of editing. Okay. It's probably like third percentile.
I was like, surely. Okay, so there are two Pokemon in the format that are slower than it.
Okay, so it's 99th. It's first percentile in terms of speed.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say like 80th percentile. Wow, that's like format's slower than I realized.
Well, that's the problem about not doing videos alone is you get called out on your bullshit. Thank you.
So guys, leave a comment down below for any mistakes that I didn't notice.
I mean, comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, tell me everything that we were wrong about. Fungus is bulky. It lives a Chandelure Shadow Ball with a Life Orb. Like, it lives two of them. With like, what the hell? I mean, I guess it's got fire move, so not exact example, but just comparing, it is as bulky as Rotom Wash. It is actually bulkier than Rotom Wash once you pile on the SPDEF investment. So this is like a real Pokemon. I hereby nominate Fungus for mid-tier, as good as Venomoth.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it would live a non-life orb flamethrower, right?
Probably. You do the math.
I believe so. I believe it lives non-life orb flamethrower from Chandelure, which I believe is 135 special attack or something insane.
Well, here's the calc I did. Life Orb, Haxorus, Dragon Claw. These are some of the strongest neutral moves, which means that if it's not the strongest, you're living a super effective move. Easy.
Absolutely.
Boom. So yeah, Eviolite is so good that a Mon that looks horrible, its stats make it continue to tell us that it looks horrible. Its typing continues to hint that it's a horrible Pokemon, but it's not. Especially in the age of terrestrialization, a water type Skiploom, if you're really willing to invest in it with an Eviolite, it actually could win games. True or false?
I mean, win games is a interesting way to put it. It can do
turn the tide, make the difference.
It can set Tailwind.
Well, it can set Tailwind and Rage Powder.
So are these all Terra Water calcs?
No, this is neutral, just as it is.
Okay,
this is before Terra Water
plus Terra in the top.
So Eviolite. Well, I guess this is a Mon that has such a bad typing that it needs terrestrialization to really get the most out of it, but it is a new tool that it never had access to before. But it is a bulky Mon. It's living amazing hits when it's not weak to them. And so if you can turn your type, you're probably not going to be weak to much. And that's why I calced it versus all of these just strong neutral hits. It lives whatever it needs to, as long as it becomes the perfect type for the occasion.
Absolutely. I think that its typing is really interesting because it has very specific resists that often will synergize well with another typing just to guarantee that your opponent isn't clicking a move into you that was neutral and is then going to be super effective.
This Mon is amazing as Terra Electric because it is never getting caught by a ground move as a flying grass type, but it is sometimes getting caught by a flying move. Absolutely. So excellent Terra means excellent Pokemon in terms of numbers with an Eviolite become excellent Pokemon. Easy enough.
And just extra turns for your partner Pokemon to take advantage of.
Okay, we're most of the way there. I think we're going to end up over a half hour, but it's good.
Jumpluff and Vivillon weren't in last gen.
That's true.
Neither was Venomoth.
So it's a welcome back to them. These guys have moves.
Yeah, moves good, it turns out. Moves that you can click, but also abilities are good.
My favorite insight of this entire episode is moves are good.
Abilities are good.
Moves are good. All right, let's get into the final part of this video where we're talking about a top-tier redirector, one that I did not believe in Gen 8, but has gotten so good in this generation because the power level went down. It stayed incredibly powerful. Some of the things that crushed it last gen are not quite as present, and its abuse of the new mechanics, terrestrialization, are among the best in the entire game. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, Volcarona is a top tier. Volcarona is getting slept on in the VBL. Volcarona is maybe getting slept on elsewhere. I see in some tier list this guy is not near the top, but it's so strong, it's so varied, and it has redirection. What more can you ask for? Is this mon broken? Why am I overhyping this mon, Electric?
Look, I don't know if it's broken. I don't know if you're... So I think this mon, if it was an 8, like, I think it should have been an 8, and then it would have gone
on the 1 to 9 scale. So you're saying just outside of top tier. I'm saying it belongs. Tell us why it doesn't belong, or tell us what to be concerned about and why this mon might not belong.
Well, I think the main concern is that it has too many abilities that, its abilities, Flame Body and Swarm, are both good, but they're not good together. And it's still a Firebug type, right?
But is it a Firebug type? Because I'm pretty sure it's just a Fire type now.
I mean, does having less stat make you better? The bug gives you a pretty reliable way to check opposing waters, and then you have the thing of, okay, I can Terra, and I can check opposing grounds. Sorry, not grounds. I can check opposing fires, or I can check opposing waters, which is a difficult position to be in. But this mon has such a ridiculous amount of mix-up when your opponent is coming and seeing it. Is this mon going to click Rage Powder? Is this mon going to click Tailwind? Is this one going to Wisp and Struggle Bug my team? Is this Pokemon just going to click a Specs Overheat? Is this Pokemon going to Quiver Dance and I'm just going to lose because I can't break through it?
You are right on the money, Electric, because this mon has an incredible diversity. What I think puts it a cut above over all these Focus Sash mons, this is the best Focus Sash mon in existence, in my opinion, or maybe there are very few others, but not only does it have moves, with Fungus, we're ooh, it's got Clear Smog, but Clear Smog, a lot of teams don't care about Clear Smog that much. Very few teams don't care about Will-O-Wisp or Tailwind. Overheat is one of the best moves in the game too. These are amazing moves. It's not just that it has mix-up, but they're very strong mix-ups.
Absolutely. Yeah, the quality of the Pokemon
Quiver
is
Dance.
Extraordinarily
What
high.
a gift from the gods that Quiver Dance is. On a mon that doesn't have to be a bug type anymore, amazing.
Amazing.
So I have a bajillion sets that you could do on this, but obviously you got to start with the fact that this mon doesn't take every physical hit in the game. It is doubly weak to Rock Slide. Sometimes you will not Terra it, and therefore Focus Sash is lovely. What I love is the combination of Overheat and Rage Powder. This mon can do great without any investment because Overheat is busted and its stats are busted. But then it forces you to kill it, right? You don't need to switch out of your dropped attack. You're well, just take me and do its job and then help your partner do its job. It's just so effective. Struggle Bug allows you to pick up sashes, allows you to still be useful even without redirection or without an attack stat. It's so good at making a quick impact, and that's why this is such a great stash mon.
Struggle Bug is a phenomenal support move. It's similar to Light Screen, right? But it's got different upsides and downsides.
Yeah, and damage. Damage is good.
Damage is always fun.
What we underrate so much in talking about all these little grass thingalings is that none of them have 135 attack stat. This is a game about killing the thing in front of you, and a mon that can't do it is only going to take you so far. Volcarona is a mon that can do it because you can slot on 2 great moves, and you can slot on, this could be Flamethrower and Bug Buzz, and it would do great damage in a lot of matchups. This mon can be versatile of damage and support like few others.
Absolutely, and Flame Body is good synergy with the Rage Powder.
Yes. One of the best ways to passively punish, we'll look at the tier list, and all the Friend Guard redirectors really get a big boost to their viability, is to be able to do something without without requiring a move. Just like the conditions of the battlefield are, physical attackers are risky now because they don't want to get burned. And there's two different ways to burn them.
Is a lot of teams tend to be pretty fighting weak in the current format. And Volcarona can be switched in from the back on a body press or a close combat or a Raging Bull. And their Pokemon winds up burnt.
That is infuriating to have your close combat do nothing and burn you.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, it's still doing like 30%, but that's a 30% you'll take in exchange for a burn.
Definitely.
Flame Body's one of those well-designed abilities, I think.
Draft League is a beautiful game because the entire range of things that a Pokemon can do has to be respected. It's why the ladder can never measure up in my enjoyment, because this needs to be respected. Everything between this and a full support set, this destroys a lot of Pokemon, and you can do your calcs in advance and say that nothing lives more than one overheat on this entire team. Nothing lives more than one heat wave in some case on this entire team. When you have the option to Terra Fire now, you have choice specs, you have 135 special attack. This mod's incredible offense. What have you seen Volcarona do that turned your head?
Click Quiver Dance. Click Quiver Dance. On the same turn, I followed Shell Smash with Blastoise because I meant to click Rage Powder, but they're both Bug type. Beyond that, the Pokemon is just absolutely absurd in terms of damage, with or without Terra, with or without investment. Even on like a defensive Rage Powder set, Stronger Bug is still doing considerable damage because it turns out 135 base special attack is kind of good.
Yeah, and it's got to be one of the. If it was just a Fire type, it would be one of the best Pokemon like ever in the game. Like one of the things that held it back is the Bug type. Always has held it back, and always what's going to lead it to continue to be underrated. The fact that it can both be an offensive and defensive tool, becoming a Fire type, makes this one of the best terrestrialization abusers, bar none.
Very, very true. I think 4X weaknesses in general really appreciate it. So being able to move down from that 4X is really good. I mean, the Bug type is what gives it Rage Powder, though. So that's something. But yeah, it's special.
We like the things that Bug type gave it, and then now it's time to grow out of our cocoon and be a top tier.
Please, I want the Bugs. Please, it's my favorite type. No.
Bugs suck. Volcarona, really good. This is the top tier really of the redirection landscape of the regional format. This is not going to change when the Paradox Mons and Legends come back. These 3 Mons are incredible, and they're going to stay relevant, at the very least in Draft League. They're going to stay good picks, no matter how many of the old redirectors come back.
Absolutely.
And this is not, I guess, it's a tier list, but also, like, all these mods have different niches. I'd say these are the top pure redirectors, and they really reach the top because they have damage, and they have great support, and they have great redirection, and they have passive abilities. Go see the Draftables for the new generation episode 1, where I do plenty of showcase on Mousehold. Mousehold's amazing, but all of these mons are draftable. They all have moves. You got to look them up because Jumpluff has incredible moveset, and it's your 6th best redirector, and that makes it like an above average contributor. Like the quality of moves here, this guy's got some offense, this guy's got Trick Room. Some of these babies have real bulk. They're great Pokemon, and they're good Pokemon with the best move in the game, and that's what makes them great Pokemon. Is that basically the conclusion?
Yeah, look, the degree to which just having a Pokemon that's sitting on the field that, even if it isn't doing anything whatsoever, will do to the course of a game, it cannot really be understated. The amount of prep that it forces your opponent to do, not just in terms of building a team of 6, but also in deciding what team of 4 to bring in and what order to bring those Pokemon, really cannot be underrated. I know that I've run safety goals to clear for Rage Powder Pokemon that never came to team preview, and that's equally true whether that Pokemon has been a Moongus or whether that Pokemon has been, any of your given lower tiers. I know I've done like a Venonat in Little Cup, and then that didn't wind up coming. I'm like, okay, well, I just spent an item on a Pokemon that was like 3 points, and that they didn't even bring.
That is concrete impact. Yeah, and so much can't be measured, though. The fact that you're preemptively taunting Fungus because it deserves it, because it's a good Pokemon with Redirection and something else. And so you taunt the Fungus, and I'm getting my free Redirection, or I'm getting my free Belly Drum. I'm getting that sweep every time. Or I'm choice banding attacking you. Every Mon looks better just when it's there, just when it's in the back, just when it's in team preview. All of the mind games I think are really healthy. Some of the nonsense in this game is really frustrating, and I never really tire of playing those guessing games. Protect versus Follow Me versus Helping Hand, I think, is really strategically deep. Plus the opportunity to click Overheat that some of these mons have, or to click Encore or Fake Tears. All of the nonsense just rolls into the Redirector package that I think is really, really fun and is unlike anything else we've got in the game, because the fundamentals of this game is go fast and hit things. Well, not if there's a Redirector around. This is an incredible tool. Y'all probably knew that coming in, but now you know the best ones. You know what makes them the best. You know the teams, when we go back to here, that really, really become the best with the aid of some of these Pokemon. And I think you're ready to dominate your next draft league. Electric, how do you dominate your next draft league with Redirection?
Pick Belly Drum. It's the fastest scaling in the game.
It's free money, baby.
It's the Titan. I have a Bomber Snow in the back. If they KO your Redirector, then you have doubled speed and +6 attack and plus double defense. So you are already. That's right. It's plus 1.5. So you're mitigating some of the healthy loss of Belly Drum.
Oh yeah, there's nothing with more finesse than the Redirector taking the hits, sacrificing itself for the greater game plan, and then your third Mon making your first Mon win the game for you. There's so many different combinations in which that is just a winning game plan. With Redirection, you can see it coming, but there's nothing you can do about it unless you have prepped for Redirection. And even in that case, some of these Redirectors will beat you anyway.
Yeah, and then the amount of forcing them to make that prep and then not bringing it or bringing it to your team before, and like the degree of the mind games which these Pokemon bring is insane.
Electric, you do great, varied, and abundant. You are a hardworking VGC content creator and everything content creator. What should we look forward to next from you?
I don't know exactly when this video is coming out, but if it is every Monday/Tuesday and every Thursday, I do a VGC analysis and demonstration where we look at 3 Pokemon and we look at how they can perform, in ladder and tournament and in draft. In the current format, and then every Saturday I should have a VGBL video coming out.
That's excellent. I was in one of your analysis of these Mons and then let's fight with them videos, and what I love is that you bring on lots of people, but you do your work and you bring great stuff on your own. You're not leaning on them. You're bringing them into something fun. So link to his in the description.
I'll tell that in the court case when they start suing me for compensation.
When are we getting our $1 million? When will people pay me? No, this is fun without being paid. It was fun to be with you, Electric. Hopefully this becomes a coherent video. Obviously, most of my analysis videos are going to be by myself, but you are an excellent co-pilot to have.
I appreciate it.
Farewell. See you in the next one. Oh yeah, give me 30 likes. That's an arbitrary number that would make me happy. Thank you.
If you got 30 likes, that'd be crazy.
Let's do it. Let's get 3,000. No, wait. Sorry. 30 is all my dreams.
It's an achievable goal.
Yes,
it's a solid goal.
Yeah, I think it's a solid goal. Then take care.
Listen, man.